So I just had to make the decision to do something I don't like to do. And that is advocating for myself. I'm really, really bad at it. Always have been. And even, it's silly, really silly. So there is a new Starbucks down the road from my house. And I decided to go there today. There are only a couple things that I really like to get when I go there. And, one's the peppermint white hot chocolate. And it's the season. And it's a seasonal drink. So I decided I wanted one. And so I went over there and I got that. And I ordered a cheese Danish while I was there as well. But normally when I order, I just order it off the app and can pay online and all that stuff. But I had cash, so I couldn't do that. So I go through the drive-thru, don't think anything of it, get my stuff. There's a little bit of a kerfluffle at the window. I handed her, okay, order came to $11.02. I handed her $10 and was getting $1.02 in change, right? So as I'm working on getting the change, I hand her the cash, and it's a 5 and 5 ones. And the wind caught the 5 and took it out of her hand, and it ended up somewhere in the parking lot. And she ended up, not charging me the last $1.02 that I was working on getting. She just gave me a discount since the 5 went elsewhere. And it was fine. And I was kind of like, okay, cool, discount, whatever. Except for as I started to drive off and took a drink of the drink, it was not my white hot chocolate. And I forget that there's like 2 versions of it. And of course, one's the hot chocolate, but it's still listed as mocha. And it was like all coffee. So I get this. I don't drink coffee at all. And even when I've tried to get into it, it just cannot zhuzh it up enough to make it so I want it. So I was like, well, it's not really a discount if I'm not going to drink it. And, I was thinking just next trash can I come across to just pitch it and call it a day. And it's like, well, then I just spent $10 on a freaking cheese Danish, and that's just silly. And so I came over to the park because I wanted to do a video, and wasn't feeling it at home. I started at the cemetery, and it's like, not quite there yet, and I knew I wanted to do a video today because there's a few things that have been going on the past couple days that I wanted to talk about. But then this whole ordeal, so I get over here, and then, okay, it's no big deal, right? So there's like this grounds crew here at the park that are just going around mulching leaves. And I was parked in the same parking lot, but over at that end, and debating on what I was going to do with the drink, and this guy on a mower comes up and he's like mulching the leaves. He goes into the parking lot and turns around and like makes half a lap in the grass, I guess. I thought he was going to be over there for a minute, so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll just go figure out this drink situation. Decided to go back to Starbucks and go inside and talk to them and get my drink fixed. And was about half sick to my stomach the entire time going over there. And seriously, no big deal. But seriously, I have never been able to actively choose to stand up for myself for something. And then this wasn't even standing up for something. It's just getting something corrected. And yes, I screwed it up because I forgot that on the app there's the peppermint white hot chocolate mocha, but then it's also in another category of under hot chocolate, but it's still worded the same, but you have to request no coffee. And since I do it online, you don't have to request it that way. And I prefer doing it online for this reason. Yeah. Anyway, so I go over there and I get that handled, and no big deal. And I come back over here, and it's so... there are still leaves everywhere. Like, I left thinking the guy was going to mulch these leaves, and then they'd probably be gone by the time I get back over here. Nope. I don't think he even did anything to them, so whatever. But yeah, I got back to my car after I went in. I showed the girl in the store the label. I said, everything is right. I just wanted hot chocolate. She was like, oh, so you don't want the coffee? And it's like, right. So she gave, I mean, the sticker is still the same as it was before. But, you know, everything's says the same. But it tastes better now. She had me try it and make sure it was what I wanted before I left. So, yeah, but then I get to the car and I just have this like wave of emotion, and I really wanted to cry, and like I teared up. I didn't cry, but I came really close. And I did send Roxy a message, and, you know, because I was like, I said, leave it to me to feel the need to cry just because I had to go advocate for myself. I don't like doing that at all. And she's like, felt. I was like, yeah. So, and of course, I might cry yet. Who knows? But there's just like all that anxiety in doing the thing. And literally, like, I thought about just pitching it. I thought about sucking it up and just drinking what I had. And then none of those options really felt good, right? I was like, I really wanted that hot chocolate though. And I really don't want to have spent $10 on a freaking Danish and not get my hot chocolate. So yeah, that was the whole stupid thing. Then it's not really a big deal, and yet here I am doing this crap because there was so much anxiety going into it. And today's been kind of a day anyway. I woke up and was trying to ease into my day like I do, to start at like the highest level I possibly can, to go into the day, right? And there's some music, and there's just daydreaming and just getting in a good space. Well, I shut my phone off of sleep mode because I always put that on in the middle of the night. And of course, if there's a family emergency, they can get through. But anybody else that just sends me text messages or whatever, I'm not going to get those until I wake up and my phone's back. So I shut the sleep mode off, and then like I'd heard my phone making noises, but you know, there's family texts, and I have a text in the group chat with my parents where my dad says something about what's the plan for today or whatever. And then there's 2 messages from my mom just giving me, the list of things she wants me to bring to her to the hospital. And then I get another random message from my aunt requesting that I bring something for my grandpa up. And it's like, I sent screenshots to my dad and was like, I was not planning on going up there today. That's not on my agenda. But it was a whole thing. Anyway, when I sent that whole bit to my parents, because I kept it in the group chat. I just sent my screenshots of what my mom had sent to me to my dad in the group conversation. And then there was this big ordeal of when I come. It's like, I'm not planning on coming up there. It's like, I did that yesterday. I don't like going several days in a row. It's okay for my mom and her sister to spend all day, every day there, fine. They're happy with that. I get absolutely nothing done, and I sit there thinking about how I'm not getting anything done that I need to be doing, and it's just that I have to recover from just the energy drain of being there anyway. But the other day, Monday, I ended up driving my mom's car back. Okay, trying to organize my thoughts. It was Veterans Day, and my dad was in the Guard. I was in the Guard. I have weird feelings about going anywhere and getting anything for military service because, well, I ended my contract early because I broke myself, and it's frustrating because I got a serious traumatic brain injury, which was the reason that I ended up getting out on medical. But I got like at least 2 concussions in basic training, and then there was another one that all 3 were on Army time and didn't get reported because, okay, the first, basic training, we were learning to march with the rifles when we first got them, and they took us through this area where the pavement was all jacked up and like they were doing some construction type stuff. I caught my foot on a jagged spot in the pavement and tripped. And when I did, I hit the buttstock of my rifle on my thigh and cracked myself in the head with a sight post. And it hurt. And I knew then it was a problem. But the drill sergeant started making fun of me so much that it's like, just out of stubbornness, I refused to say anything. I refused to go get checked out, refused to have anything done, just whatever, just F you kind of a thing. Except for that ends up being an F me kind of a thing after all is said and done. So, like 3 minutes later, maybe, I hear, "Jones, fall out, you're bleeding." Because when I cracked myself with the sight post, I made myself bleed. Well, obviously, if it's bad enough to make me bleed, it might have been bad enough to do something else. But because I was so stubborn and getting made fun of anyway, it's like, there's that whole F you thing that ended up effing me. And so there was that one. And then there was another one where, okay, one of our drill sergeants plays baseball, like even today, like he's very active and playing on, teams within the, whatever his unit. I don't know what his ordeal is, but he still plays. He's on like a league. He played college level and all that stuff. So when we had to go to the drill sergeants for supplies, he would always pitch the toilet paper to whoever requested it. And all the guys thought it was great, and girls did too. Whatever. It was just kind of whatever. But so one day he's pitching it to some of the guys who are, they're just eating this shit up. And I thought he was looking that way and I was going that way, like the opposite direction. And when I was going over to where one of my friends was at, and when I thought he was facing the other direction, he ended up pitching it in the direction I was walking, and it cracked me in the head. And like, he probably pitched this roll of toilet paper, like a good 70, 80 miles an hour, and it hit me in the side of the head, hit my eye pro up against my temple, made my eyes water, and I had to sit down. And he was just like, "Oh shit," and everybody's just kind of like, "Oh shit." But didn't do anything because I figured he would probably get in trouble, and I don't want anything like that to be the case. So I was somebody's napping in their car in front of me. I didn't realize there was anybody in there. Honestly, not entirely sure there's not a second person in there. So maybe they're up to sketchy stuff and I'm just sitting here doing a video. Anyway, I definitely felt like that one was worse than the first one. And I felt like I needed to go, talk to somebody about that one, and didn't, because I was afraid to get him in trouble. And also I knew he hadn't done it intentionally, but that doesn't change the fact that it still happened and it still fucked with me. But now, can't do anything about that now. But then the big thing on that was I didn't go to get treatment for it because I was afraid it would get him in trouble, and I knew he hadn't done it intentionally. And so I didn't. I just took it, right? So then, of course, the traumatic brain injury that happens off of Army time is the one that seals the deal on ending my Army career, and I have no documentation from any head injuries while I was there, so I'm just fucked, right? So yeah, yay me. But since I signed, it was supposed to be a 6-year contract, and then with the additional 2 where I could have gotten called up if my unit was deployed or whatever. But I ended up getting out at 5. Yeah. Just under 5. But either way, it's like there's this thing, and then can't do anything for it, and then it's like my whole contract, like everything's just done. And then since my military career was no more and I didn't even finish out what I'd signed up for, I never felt like like I was truly I have a really rocky connection with the whole military experience, to be honest. But I've never, anytime there's been Veterans Day stuff, I've never actively sought out any of the free meals or whatever perks that you could get for that kind of stuff, because, I'm really, if you are familiar with the whole military community anyway, they do spend a lot of time making fun of people for thinking that they served when all they did was go to basic training and didn't do anything else. So there's just that whole thing. So I never pushed it before, and Monday wasn't really that I was gonna push it then anyway. It was still kind of, I was torn on it, and I wasn't trying to push for anything, really. We talked about going out, and so for the hell of it, why not? I've never done, I don't usually take advantage of this kind of opportunities. Whatever. I don't feel myself as actually having had any worthwhile military experience, even though, worthwhile, I guess, in the eyes of other military types that, actually did something with their career, rather than just end up getting fucked over by the whole thing. I don't know. I'm going to hold that thought for a minute, and hopefully this video is still up when I come back, but I gotta make a potty run, so. Hey, it didn't shut off. Okay. So, Okay, so I have a very complicated relationship with just about everything I've done, really, in my life. I was realizing this yesterday. Okay, so I had this group conversation going with Roxy and Bona from Derby, because we're supposed to do something this coming weekend. So we've just kind of been talking there. So we're all involved in it. And I sent them a message when we were out at the restaurant, and I said that I have a very difficult, I guess, outlook on my military career anyway, because it was jack shit, and I broke myself, and that was it. But I now realize that I was there to learn some things that, well, that was the easiest environment, I think, that I could get that much understanding in a short span of time. So, big thing was that whole empath thing. Because, like, I've always felt swayed easily, and it wasn't until basic training and being around this huge number of other people and all these energies that I realized that I am affected by the energies of people that I am around. So basically, the point, I think, for the point with the universe for me going into the military was to show me that I am very much affected by the energies of the people that are in the environment around me. And them also talked about this a little bit. There's that element of it literally would not have mattered which branch I went into. I was going to have an experience where there would be somebody that would in my near proximity that would get sexually assaulted, and I would be affected by their energy specifically. That was the point. And part of that is, because on my mission to understand things, I have to see how things fit together and what the environment teaches the people that are there, and why sexual assault in military contexts is such a prevalent issue. And like I said, it literally would not have mattered which branch I went into for that end, because there's always, I think everybody that I know of that's been in the military could tell you some kind of stories about whether it's the girls in the military or, just how they talk about certain ones. Anyway, yeah. That was like my bigger purpose for being there. So, fact is, I still signed the freaking contract and went in to do this thing. It just ended up not going that way. But I did get out of it. Well, since the military is where I learned that I am an empath, and that I am very much affected by the energies of people around me, I'm glad I did not get deployed at any point, because I think that would have been way more than I needed to experience on the coming to understand this energy influence thing. So I definitely believe that everything that happens has a purpose for what is happening. And the farther I go on this journey that I'm on currently, I realize how everything has always been playing a role in getting me here and helping me to understand the things that I'm here to understand. And yeah. So anyway, Monday actually ended up being kind of funny because we went to this restaurant and with my parents, and we all got the little steak dinners with mashed potatoes and broccoli, and then we got a couple of desserts. Well, somehow there ended up being a glitch in the system, so we got 3 free meals. My mom wasn't in the military, but she got a free meal too because the system glitched. It's like, interesting. So, we ordered a couple desserts. My mom and I split one, then my dad got one, and we ended up just paying for desserts. Like, cool. So that was kind of one of those things that was kind of fun. Universe kind of has its way. I'm seeing more and more. And then I got my discounted stuff today, and all it cost me was I had to go back in there and, it cost me $10, but I got a $1.02 discount, and all it cost, or really the big thing on it was I had to go back and say, hey, got this wrong. And they fixed it, and it wasn't a problem, even though I wanted to cry when I got to the car. So yeah. God. Yesterday, I went out to breakfast with my aunt, so I was kind of starting in a little bit of a rough... I knew I was going to make bad eating choices because I'm really addicted to, biscuits and gravy from Hardee's or from this local place in town that's really good. And, I get half an order of that and a couple of eggs, and that's fine. The restaurant we went to yesterday, I did the thing and got the Dr. Pepper, even though I know I'm not supposed to drink that stuff because it makes me feel like shit. Yeah. And helps me make bad decisions, I think. So I got that. And then we went and ended up picking up my grandma. At first we were checking on her more than anything because she's had a cold or something going on. And, the way my mom was talking, which I know how my mom talks, she always takes everything from 1 to 10. So at some point in the next few days, my grandfather will probably be going to a different hospital to have his pacemaker removed. But the way that she was talking about it kind of made it to where it was like, if we don't take Grandma today, is she never going to get to see him again, kind of a thing. So, my aunt was all set to say that we could leave her at her house and then go to the hospital, and we could decide how he was doing, and if it was pressing enough, I could come back and get her. It's like, I don't want to make another trip like that. It's like, how about we just take her now, and she can wear a mask, and then whenever she's ready to leave, we'll leave. Because I'm not staying forever. My aunt was planning on staying all night again last night. She did, so fine. We were there. Got to be around when the doctor was in there. And then my grandma was getting kind of shitty when she was talking about the nurse, and weren't sure she wasn't going to go off on the nurse. And apparently there's some kind of family connection with the nurse's grandma. And my aunt was like, behave yourself, don't embarrass us, or kind of whatever, with my grandma. And it's like, you know what? I was just like, she's already starting to show her ass. It's time to go. Forget it. And I was like, look, I need to go get Gracie some more chocolate milk because she's going to want that next time she's over before school. So I was like, I'm just going to run in. That's all I'm getting. I will leave you in the car with the car running, and I will be right back. And that was fine. And then she talked about wanting to try Chipotle, and it's like, well, just since we have to go in and how complicated that is while you're not feeling good and while you're trying to make me make all the decisions, I'm not doing that. So it's like, I think that's somewhere we need to go when you're feeling better. like she said, what are we doing for lunch? It's like, I don't care. What do you want? She said, I just don't want a hamburger. It's like, I don't want to have to make the decisions for everything. That's what I don't want. And yet, she and my aunt are both like that. We're going to go somewhere to eat. You decide where we're going. No, I'm driving. I don't want to make all the decisions when it was your idea to go just because I'm in the driver's seat. That's not, no, I don't want to do that. So got her, I was like, you want Mexican? It's like, we can go to like one of the little Mexican restaurants that was nearby that are really good. It's like, but that takes us back to that point where she's not feeling really good, so let's still be going in and taking her cooties to the store. I was like, fine, you're making me decide. We'll go to Taco Bell and we'll go to the one that's down the street because it's closer to the house. And then we'll just eat at home at her house. She's like, okay. So, yeah, but like, I didn't even ask her when she started mouthing off about the nurse when the nurse had walked out. I was just like, we're leaving. And I got up and started pushing her. I handed her stuff and started pushing her wheelchair and was like, sit there and behave. Say your goodbyes. We're going. So, yeah. But yeah, like with the energy yesterday, I wasn't able to skate last night because I had to, had an appointment. I told somebody I would take them to. This little old lady my mom used to work with. She calls me when she needs a driver, give me $20 to take her to get her hair appointment, and dropped her off, and then went back a couple hours later to pick her up. If I wouldn't have had to pick her up, because she originally thought that her daughter would be able to, then I would have gone and skated. Since I ended up picking her up, I did not get to skate. It was very unfortunate. I needed to skate yesterday. I was just kind of off. My energy just kind of, it's still kind of, but for different reasons. So, I was stress eating yesterday too. I had all these little off-brand Thin Mint cookies from Aldi's. It's like, yep, I had way more of those than I needed. I didn't need any of them, but just that anxiety and dealing with the family and the dense energies and all that stuff. It's just like, it felt like crap. So I ate like crap. It's like, crap. And I don't even know how coherent this video is. There's a brief moment where I was like, should I just delete this one and start all over? I don't know. So I told a couple people last night, it's like, I have eaten like crap and my anxiety is telling me that I have been eating like crap today and that I need to do something with that. And I was like, I'm going to have to like take a shower before I go to bed and get this out of my aura because this isn't working out for me. So I did. Assaulted myself and all that fun stuff. And then before I took a shower last night, I tried to meditate and it didn't work out real well, but I also had this movie that I wanted to watch before I took back to the library, and so it was due today. When I was meditating, I had this brief moment where just the word clean came to mind. It's like, there is really no reason that I haven't finished my office at this point, like, or at least gotten a lot further, because it looks like I just abandoned it from where I was. I made progress and then stopped. So when I decided to try to clean, and I put the movie on while I was doing that, didn't get a whole lot done. I did move some stuff in my bedroom and remembered that I wanted to post this basket for sale. So I did that. Got it all cleaned up and got it posted, and had a couple picture frames that I saw and got those posted. It's like, this is probably not the progress that I was trying to make. There's a little table that was in the living room that's like, you know what, I have a space that will work for this in my office, so I will put it there. So I got that there. But it was just like really piddly crap, and not a lot got done compared to what I wanted to do with it. What time is it? 2:00. Okay. So yeah. So then I did do some things. It wasn't that I was completely unproductive. I did do a little bit. I was trying to hit the button on the car to see what time it was, and didn't work. But then for some reason the car randomly kicked back up. Anyway, so yeah, I took my shower and was trying to push the water last night. After that, it's like, get this bad energy out of my system since I ate like crap all day. And I had some of my aunt's pancakes yesterday morning too, because they were for her orders. I sent a couple huge pancakes. It's like, pancakes kind of sound good, but I didn't need that much. So I had like probably like a third of a couple of them, but it was still that whole sticky, heavy, nasty energy. So this morning, I wake up and like I'm messing around on my phone, trying to start with my music and all that stuff. Then I go to YouTube and was gonna find music videos, and ended up having this thing pop up. Started following this lady who does twin flame teaching stuff, Regita Shaman, and she had a video that she had posted like 55 minutes ago when I saw it this morning. And it was a little 4-minute one. So it's like, all right, what's this all about? And she's talking about basically not coming from a place of spiritual ego. And she's talking about how like the masculines are working to transmute the ego, and the feminines, the big thing is you don't want to be moving from a place of spiritual ego where you think you're above everybody because you got the spiritual stuff going on, right? And I honestly there was a coherent thought to why I started that at one point and why I thought about that, because I thought about that a lot today. But she's talking about like the distorted feminine and the divine feminine, and basically the big difference between the two is the healing work, right? And the boundaries thing. She said, or she was talking about when the feminine has healed she's united her own masculine aspects within herself, and she's able to set boundaries, the whole boundary thing. So one of the cards that I drew for yesterday was one of those tiger cards that I talk about frequently. Even got the earrings today. There was the Sacred Boundaries card. And I knew as soon as I flipped to that section and remembered what all it said, it's like, oh, this is telling me to be mindful of the shit that I keep eating. And how that's affecting me. It's talking about setting boundaries for yourself on what you are willing to put into your body. It's like, oh, well, after yesterday, obviously. And that was the whole thing. But then I start my video I start my morning this morning with that video, after the card and after a full day of eating garbage, and then I had to freaking advocate for myself, and that was like something that shouldn't have been hard, and yet I seriously considered just throwing away the coffee and not going back to getting my order fixed until I had that moment of, then I just paid $10 for a Danish, and that's stupid. So everything's connected. It's driving me nuts. Last night, I did some writing before I went to bed and realized that it all came back to, everything was going back to the whole imposter syndrome thing, right? Like, I had a hard time on Monday wanting to go get, a free dinner because I always felt like my military experience was less than everybody else's who actually earned those meals experience, right? And it was only through talking to a couple of my friends, it's like, you still signed up to do the thing, and had it not gone the way it did, you would have had to do the thing. So you still kind of did the thing, so that still counts, and then I was thinking about how literally my entire life has felt like I didn't belong wherever I've been. And like, even I started writing about like the stuff with the drumline, and I always felt like everybody else that participated in the drumline, that they were like so much above and beyond me, musically speaking, and kept that thought very much alive until we went out. There was a group of us that went out in Tyler's honor, have drinks and food, and kind of reconnect after his funeral, because our the drumline instructor that wanted to go to the funeral wasn't able to be at the funeral, and so he organized this little outing at a little local restaurant after the funeral when he could go. It was like the same day, but it was just earlier in the day he wasn't available, and then he was able to do that later. So, okay, when my junior and senior years, there's this guy named Matt who was in the pit with me, and he was basically, it was one of those things where if I wasn't there, everybody knew Matt was in charge, and, if whatever reason, leading warm-ups, whatever, he was basically second in command, and I always thought he was a much better player than I was. And when, of course, as section leader, I would have had the barky xylophone parts, but I didn't want those because I didn't want to have the most obvious part. Matt got those because, I knew he could handle them, and I knew I did not trust myself that I could handle them with an instrument that yelled like that. At the dinner we had, Matt came up to me at one point, and he said, that's the really cool thing about what we had. He said, it's not that any of us were especially amazing musicians. It was that we took our parts and we played them really well, and we played them well together. And it's like, that was the first time it ever occurred to me that maybe everybody else had the same kind of feelings I did at some level, or maybe didn't feel like they were anything special, and except, but then there's the thing we did together. So I was writing about that and like crying about that last night, and Roxy sent me a message, and she, of course, is all on board with the numbers and all that stuff lately. Like, I always push that, hey, I saw these. Like yesterday, I saw 1111, twice. I told her I saw it twice, and I'm counting it twice, even though it was the same car in the same spot. And I just saw it the first time when I was going to the drive-through at Taco Bell, and then the second time when I went around the building and went back through and was leaving. I said I'm still counting it because it was still there. So even though I knew it was there, but yeah, like she sent me part of a screenshot of a conversation from her new Derby League, because they had like 111 likes, and they were like 100, no, it was an hour and 23 minutes for something. And I saw her clock was at 22:02 because she's got it on the military time since she's a nurse. But she sent me that, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just sitting here crying about imposter syndrome and how I've always felt like I never belonged anywhere that I've ever been. We were kind of talking about it a little bit, and it's like, you know what? I think that's a big point, because no two people are exactly alike, right? And I cannot tell you how many times I have thought, especially in the past, 10, 15 years or so, that I think on this planet, we have everybody we need to make the changes that would make this planet a better place to live for all of us. I think we have everything we need already, but we have so many people that, we grow up thinking that we don't fit for this or that reason, and we're always trying hard not to be who we actually are, because we think somehow there's something wrong with who we are. But if we embrace who we are and start living authentically and being the most us that we could be and put out into the world, everything would come together, and we would be able to make this place like a really cool place to live. We just keep getting in our own ways. And it's that, like I was telling Roxy, it's like we all have what we need. It's like, okay, I have this thought. Let me see if I can put it into words. Okay, everybody has their own unique qualities that, there's going to be overlap with, like there were those things that got me inclined to go into the military in the first place. Some of those I share with other people that were of the inclination to go into the military as well. But when there and all that was happening, I felt like an imposter the entire time, like I wasn't supposed to be there. And I think, I know other people probably felt that way too at some level, and I feel like I'm just not going to do it justice at trying to explain what I'm thinking again. I know there are ways that I see things that other people don't necessarily see. And I always thought there was somehow it's a problem with me, because, well, one of my biggest things is this whole, the spiritual connection, right? And not going from a spiritual ego kind of thing. It's not I'm above and better than anybody in any kind of way. It's I'm able to see things from a different perspective than I think a lot of people are. And I say that because there have been times where I'm thinking something in these out here spaces, and then when I bring it up to my brother or something, he's like, him being his Capricorn and all his grounding placements and all that stuff, he doesn't see it at the same level that I do, so it doesn't make either one of us wrong. It's just we have a difference of perspective in what we're seeing. Because I'm not able to hold on to this, like, earth level stuff very, very well. I don't function down here good. And it's like, the thought that comes to mind is trying to put the square peg in the round hole kind of idea. It's just like, it never felt like it fit. Like, I never felt like I fit. And like, the things I've gotten in trouble a few times because I've said something from the up here perspective to try to shift how my mom or my brother see things, and my brother took it as an insult, and my mom got mad because it hurt his feelings or whatever. And I don't know, it's just something complicated. But I remember at least once being like, that's not what I was trying to say. And then, trying to explain it a different way. And then she's like, oh, I get that. And I was like, so it wasn't just me being an asshole. It was me trying to come up with a different way of looking at things and not communicating it clearly. Which I feel like that's been a whole lot of this whole YouTube thing. Not communicating it clearly. And it takes me a long time to get to the point because I'm like trying to narrow it back down. And make sense of it. And then it's just a big hot mess, not working out right. But that's like one of the big things I'm trying to learn. But I feel like, okay, in the environments that we find ourselves in, and if we... Lady put her dog's leash in the door. The dog got out of the car and was like, oh, this is as far as I go. Anyway. I don't know. This whole video, I feel like I'm not communicating anything clearly. I've thought multiple times about deleting this whole thing and not posting it at all, but right now I'm kind of wondering about maybe that's part of the point too, is just demonstrating that fucked up side of things with trying to make it make sense and not succeeding at all. I feel like there's a whole lot of not succeeding and trying to make things make sense. Why not cry about it, It's kind of funny though when I went and did the thing, got my drink switched around, got the drink I wanted, and then like I went back over to the cemetery, thought about sitting there, but then my lighting was kind of weird, and had this moment on Monday's video when I was rewatching it the first time. It's like, what is up with the fucking lighting? Where it's like, what? My face looked all weird and like super old, and I seriously, I sent Ben a message and I was like, the lighting's so bad on this that I honestly, if I hadn't been proud of what I was talking about and actually said some things that I thought were useful, I probably would have just deleted it rather than posting it. But it's like there's so much that I talked about that I felt like did go well that I didn't feel like deleting it would have been of benefit either. And like the next time I watched it, because I did rewatch it that night, it's like it wasn't as, I didn't notice it the second time. So then was it just the lighting of me being outside and watching it in sunlight and made something happen with the lighting otherwise. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, so I did the thing, and then I decided to come back over here because the lighting was weird over there, and I just didn't want to be over there. So I came back over to the park. On the way in, as I'm still thinking about doing the things, right, I see the birthday of the twin flame on the odometer. It's like, hey, that always feels just like a little nudge. You're doing okay, keep going. And then I parked over here at this parking lot that I'm at, and there was a car in front of me. And okay, the video I did the other day, I talked about the three letters that I was looking to see together in a certain order, and it was in the name of the car. It's like, oh, it doesn't exist. It does exist together. So yeah. And so I saw that, so there's like two things. It's like, well, doesn't completely suck. Might not be one of my finer ones, but I don't know. I feel frazzled right now, and my head's buzzing again. I don't know what to do with it. I can't think of anything else to say. Yeah. I was thinking earlier, there's like, okay, at some point I watched a video that somebody posted in that group that I'm supposed to help moderate for on Facebook. This little video, it was like Bashar talking, and he said that it was talking about doing the YouTube thing because somebody had asked him a question, and he was talking about how it's not up to you to decide who your stuff lands in front of. The universe will take it where it is meant to go, right? So he said it's up to you to do the thing to begin with, and even if like you say things that you don't quite understand, there's probably a purpose for them. If you feel led to say them, then there's a reason for that, and it's just being open and doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and then the universe will take it where it's meant to go and put it in front of who it's meant to be in front of. Okay, not all of that was Bashar stuff. That was my stuff. But the big thing he said was, you can't control, who your video is going to land in front of. But by doing the thing, and by doing this thing you're supposed to be doing, it gives the universe the opportunity to take it where it's supposed to go. And he said, you can't worry about like the people who aren't supposed to see it, because if they're not a vibrational match to it, they're not going to be able to find it anyway. And he said, whatever, like the people that do find it, you can't control how they receive it, or what the purpose of them seeing it, any of it, is. That's only the universe can decide those things, right? But you can't let that be a worry and keep you from doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Like, if you're supposed to be doing the YouTube thing, do the YouTube thing, and it'll go where it's meant to go. I've been saying that for a while. But then when he was talking about people not of a vibrational match won't be able to see it because they won't be able to find it. It's the people that are a match to it at whatever level, for whatever reason, they're a match to some part of what you say and stay there long enough to hear you out and hear you get to that point. That's kind of the thing. Keep going for that. So, yeah, am I going to, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the biggest part of my whole journey that this YouTube endeavor is meant to portray is the fact that, okay, there's been a whole lot of healing and a whole lot of difficulty on this path to get me here. And I feel like, okay, it's one of those, this is, okay, the long game, right? So I have not promoted my channel at all. I think I've told like 5 or 6 people about it, that it even exists, and most of them haven't seen it. So I got like one person I know that actively checks it. I got another one that is subscribed to it that I don't know how much he watches, but still. And then I have a few people that the point of, the whole process, like my first 3 subscribers last year made me about sick to my stomach at the idea of now people are going to see that I'm out here, and there's this whole, just this overwhelming sense of why would they want to know hear what I have to talk about or any of that stuff. And that's the stuff I can't control. But those first 3, even though I like just about cried, I think I might have cried because the anxiety was so much, and what was I going to do? What did they, they found my stuff. Why did they find it interesting enough to subscribe? That kind of a thing, and then like the next few didn't hit quite as traumatically. And then since then it's way more laid back, and hey, I made it to 12 subscribers in a year. Yay. But that's the whole point. This is the long game. It wasn't ever, I've never been out to just have something go viral. Honestly, I'm still at the point where it's like, finding that many people finding me, nah, I don't need that. But as I've done this and gone along and learned more about myself and healed more, and that's, I think, my process is the bigger point of what I'm putting out there and what anybody is supposed to see of this. So if somebody's maybe afraid to start something, hey, obviously that's a common thing. And then the whole imposter syndrome. Yeah, well, we all feel that at some point anyway, right? So how do we move beyond that and do the thing anyway? And and my whole journey, it's like, this always been like the hardest when I've thought about writing, when I've thought about doing this, and people talk about you have to have a niche, and what's your thing that you're pushing for, what is your audience, your ideal audience. It's like, I don't know any of those details. It's like I feel like there's been so many different levels of my own path and my own existence that I have a hard time narrowing it down to only want to help this group of people because of this, and this. I see that there's much healing to be done in all facets of life, and healing is my biggest, I guess, the thing that I'm passionate about. But not everybody thinks they need to go through the healing process, so if it's not something that somebody's actively working on, they're probably not going to find my stuff anyway, because they wouldn't want to hear what I had to say. I think of this conversation I had with that Tim that I used to work with. He's, I said something about drumline, said something about military experience, and he was just kind of looking at me and the way that I carried myself and personality wise, and he's just like, I can see these things. But it's like, there's no one size fits all for any of those. Like, the people that I was in drumline with, like, we were all very different people, and we just had the shared love of drumline, and we're able to work together well to do this pretty cool thing for our school. For the military, that we had something in common that got us there. And obviously, some people are still with it, and I obviously am not, but I was still there for a time, and there was still something about me that got me to that place to be able to be there for a span of time. And it's like all the different, let me cry again. Shit. It's like all the different types of people I've encountered in my life that, okay, my family. My family is not my ideal or my target audience by any means. It's more the people that have been trying to do the things in spite of their family and what the toxic tendencies within their family systems. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing, is moving beyond toxic family systems. And because we all have those. And they kind of permeate through all of our existence. And how can we do the things we want to do and become the best version of ourselves and who we're here to be, in spite of how we were raised to be. Getting to do the things you're meant to be here to do, in spite of all the heavy, dense energy you pick up from toxic family systems and, the people that are there not wanting you to be better than you are, because then you don't fit your, what you're supposed to do for the family and your role in the family. And that's just, I don't know. I feel like Monday's video was a hell of a lot more coherent than today's video, and yet I'll still probably post this one because I feel like this has been an important part of this process too. And I have a hiccup. Yeah. I can't think of anything else I want to talk about. I don't even know. I've had some ideas this week, and I just feel like I'm not coherent on that level to know whether I actually did what I set to do. I don't know. But I did the thing because I felt like I wanted to do the thing, do the video and put it out there. And, part of this could be partly that carryover from the not minding or not having good boundaries yesterday on my eating. and yeah, that's still obviously got a couple days to get that shit out of my system before I can move beyond that. Unless I could always fast for a couple days. Thought about that, but I don't know. I had pineapple this morning. It was really, really good. Anyway, if you've stuck it out with me on this journey, hey, cool. As always, I appreciate you. Till the next time, see ya.